like, what were the silent struggles that you were facing that maybe nobody could see?
But an area that I've not been as good at is my own personal development. And if I was to look at my to-do list, personal development plans would usually be something towards the bottom end. I was hitting a glass ceiling, what felt like a bit of a ceiling in terms of progression, wasn't really moving on to the next step. I'm starting to get a bit frustrated to understand the reasons why.
The personal development plan, it's always the first thing to drop when you've got a busy diary, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it used to be.
A lack of confidence, I suppose, when it came to knowing what to do to, develop essentially. So, what plans, what do I need to do? How do I progress? Who do I need to speak to? What sort of conversation should I be having? There are certain problems and situations that you can figure out yourself, but that I have reached that area, and probably the level I'm at now is I do need help and support from other people, but because I've been able to get to where I've got to now by not asking for help, that's a big change.
Gosh, yeah. We can't treat ourselves the way we treat others. But you talked about, though, you'd been struggling with this for years. I mean, how many years?
Oh, as long as I can remember.
And you've turned, over 20 years, you've had this way of working, this way of being, the stress for 20 years, which, let's be honest,
I know.
When you go home...
I might have had hair for being on your programme a few years earlier, Liz.
Yes, you had. And you've managed to change that way of thinking within 12 weeks. Welcome to Simon Gold. It's brilliant to have you here on the Leading Role podcast with me today.
Thanks, Liz.
So, Simon, we've worked together for a long time.
We have indeed.
Back in the days at Vodafone.
Yep.
And you've recently completed my 90-day leadership program.
I did.
So, you are now working at Radius UK as the head of operations for sales.
Yep.
Let's just start at the beginning and take us back to before you joined the program. What were the silent struggles that no one else could see?
A particular piece of work would happen, and I'd just be stuck. And I'd have in my mind that I would need to figure it out, and the pressure would mount up on my shoulders. So I would say that silent struggle would be just thinking it was all down to me to deliver, which was, in hindsight, the wrong thing to think. And actually, it's what I've learned is there are lots of people out there and lots of resources out there to tap into to help you deliver that.
Yeah, yeah.
And change
but
that.
At the time, not knowing that, that's quite a stressful place to be in, when you gain a piece of work that could potentially help elevate you in your career.
Yeah.
But silently, you're like, I don't even know if I can do this.
Yeah. And even now thinking back about what it was like sort of like 3-4 months ago, sometimes I think I can't believe I actually didn't. That's how I used to think. And I've changed so much in my thinking since then. But in different instances, certain times, different instances over the years, that's how I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because if anyone who worked for me needed any help, I'd be the first one to help them.
Yeah. I remember you telling me this.
And, that's something that I'm a coach. I'm a leader in that respect. My leadership style is coaching, supporting. I've always delivered results through people, getting people to engage. And, although I've had that feedback before that they can see me as a bit of a poker face sometimes, I still generally get into helping them and supporting them and ask them to come to me if they've got any issues. But I would find that difficult to do myself.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how we can't treat ourselves the way we treat others? But you talked about, though, you'd been struggling with this for years. I mean, how many years?
Oh, as long as I can remember. Really.
10, 15, 20?
Yeah, I think it's something that the wrong behaviour that I probably picked up when I first became a manager, 2004.
Yeah. So,
But I think we get to a point where there are certain problems and situations that you can figure out yourself, but that I have reached that area, and probably the level I'm at now is I do need help and support from other people. But because I've been able to get to where I've got to now by not asking for help, that's a big change.
gosh, yeah. And you've turned, over 20 years, you've had this way of working, this way of being, the stress for 20 years, which, let's be honest.
I know.
When you
I might have had hair for being on your programme a few years earlier, Liz.
Yes, you had. But joking aside, that's a long time to have that weight, isn't it? I know, it probably, we've talked about this, that weight can be bigger or lesser depending on what it is, but it's there nonetheless, that weight on your shoulders. So, and you've managed to change that way of thinking within 12 weeks. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what's it feel like to open up and start being honest with yourself?
Yeah, I think it just got to a point where I was frustrated, and I spoke before about looking for some personal development time and some support. And now I've got to the place I'm at now. It just makes you feel a lot happier at work, a lot more confident, a lot more job satisfaction. Some days you would go home from work and you'd be, you take your work home with you. Happens, doesn't it?
Did you struggle to switch off?
Yeah, I think as a people manager, I think anyone who's a people manager, you can never really 100% switch off. I find anyway, might be different for people, but I can definitely switch off a lot more now because I'm tackling more work in working hours. Yeah. And getting more done. So therefore more productive. So there's less time needed outside of work to get work done.
Got you.
So work outside of hours now will be just, as and when needed, but few and far between.
And that's what I want for you from the programme, that you can switch off, because it's so important. We talk about energy, don't we, all the way through as a theme for the programme. And you have got high performance habits. You go to the gym regular, your nutrition, you take that seriously. I know you're a big advocate of walking. I know that's one of your passions, and we focus on that as well as all the other skills. But to be able to switch off when you go home, that's it's fantastic to hear you say that. Yeah,
I think if you have a productive day, you can switch off.
Yeah,
because you've achieved something. If you have a lot of work that's not been completed, not been achieved, it hangs over you sometimes, doesn't it? So opening up and sort of asking for support in the right way, and tapping into people's experiences and getting that advice just makes you more productive from my experiences. And therefore you can get through more work.
And we talked about this as well, didn't we, about procrastination. So when we're stuck, we don't know how to do something.
Yeah.
We think we've got to figure it all out on his own, which you said. And then that leads into procrastination because you're putting it off because you don't know how to take it forward.
Yeah.
That procrastination then bleeds into other areas. And you were like, Liz, I'm really distracted. I'm dead good at distracting myself.
Yeah. I was a master of that. Yeah. I'm someone who likes to get involved in like drawn towards new stuff, So that can be my procrastination at times. So yeah, it's making sure that I'm dealing with work. But like I mentioned a moment ago, if you've got the answers, you can get work completed, then that's what it's about. I think if you haven't got the answers and then you get stuck, that's when you can tend to procrastinate, as you just said. So I think now that I'm getting more work done, focus more on productivity.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
You are a productivity ninja now. It's fair to say.
I wouldn't say I was ninja level.
Oh, okay.
But
I would.
You've got something to work towards, haven't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. And it is that satisfaction, isn't it? At the end of the day, when you know you got the job done,
Yeah.
everything feels good in the world.
You just go home with you speak to your other half, or someone asks you a question, how's your job, how's your work, how was work today? And
Yeah.
you can just say, yeah, I had a good day. And that's nice.
That is a nice feeling,
You don't really,
isn't it?
sometimes you might have a tough day,
Yeah.
but if you have more good days than tough days, then generally life's a lot better,
Oh
isn't it?
God, yeah. Blinky, that's what we want us out. That is what it's all about, surely.
Yeah.
And it's not letting that bad day derail you for the rest of the week and writing it off, is it?
No, absolutely not. Bad days happen. Stuff happens outside of your control.
Yeah.
It's just important not to dwell on it, and just move on.
Yeah. But it's knowing how to do that, isn't it? Like we talked earlier about, you just need to be more confident. No, we're talking about competence. Let's get rid of the confidence. It's how to.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what I want the program to give to you, those strategies of how to move it forward.
I think as well, though, Liz, is when you have a bad day, when things crop up that are outside of your control, if you've not got outstanding work on your to-do list because, you're stuck in that situation that we spoke about before, you've got more time to deal with it properly.
Yeah.
We all need a bit of time for firefighting. And if you haven't got the time, then that can be very stressful.
Yeah.
So it's about the techniques, creating that space. So then you can do that.
100%. So you're actually focused and present, aren't you?
Yeah.
When you're doing the work,
yep.
You're giving it that attention.
Exactly. You don't want to jump from like fire to fire. You want to be in control of what you're doing. And then if something just pops up that's outside of your control, then
and that's the difference between quality and quantity, isn't it? It's about your output and what you're delivering.
Yep.
If you can remove those distractions, see, it all supports. It's like that dominoes effect, isn't it? So we just started talking about not wanting to ask and trying to figure it out on your own. But because you've now learned strategies of how to ask for help, you're now becoming more productive. You're now being able to switch off. So it's all,
It's like there's a halo effect, isn't there?
It is. That's the word I was after, mate.
Yeah. There's a halo effect of just from doing that.
Yeah. Brilliant. We, as you know, in the program, we try to get rid of confidence. Because what is confidence anyway? Confidence is an output of competence.
Yeah.
So we were looking at actually getting rid of that confidence and saying, where's the skill gap? So you can become competent in that.
Yeah.
And then your confidence is an output of it. Because I wish we'd had £1 for every time somebody said you just need to be more confident.
Definitely.
Yeah. But what do you mean by confidence then? Can you describe it for us?
I think confidence is like self-belief, self-esteem, and having, feeling like actually, you deserve something, and not being not confident is sort of catalyst to keep your head below the parapet and not, put your hand up or stretch yourself, which is what ultimately I learned that I needed to do, because there's a fear of failure, because you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're outside your comfort zone and it doesn't work, because, you can often play games with your mind and look at the worst case scenario, even though that doesn't, what the worst case scenario will never happen.
Yeah.
That's something that you can make yourself feel like there's going to be a problem, or, you're going to get found out, or whatever it may be, imposter syndrome, whatever it may be. But actually, when you actually put yourself out there, that's never happened.
I know. Exactly. And you've found a way now, we've worked together for you to push past that fear of that failure, imposter syndrome. It's all the same impact, isn't it? The same scenarios that we play out in his minds. I have it on a daily basis. Anybody'd be lying if they said they didn't. We're human.
Yeah.
Managers are human, by the way.
Not, some of the managers I've had, Liz, are not might not be human, but
Well, I know that is debatable.
yeah,
But I think what I've learned over the years is that when somebody's, even a manager, is reacting in a way that we think they're not human, then there's something going on for them, isn't there? But I hear you, Christ, we could write books. But
yeah,
from your, it's important that the message is managers are human and have feelings and have emotions, and they are fearful and
absolutely.
confidence issues.
I think you've got to not. Sometimes when you're overly concerned about what people think about you, you forget that actually, like you just said, everyone's human.
Mm.
So often people are in the same position as you. Yeah. And when you start to talk to other people and listen to, how they struggle day to day, have imposter syndrome. And some of these people actually are quite senior. It sort of opens your mind to then see, actually, I'm not the only one. And taking that time to listen to someone talk or just have a conversation with someone one-on-one, it starts to break down those barriers in your mind that make you feel like, you're lacking in confidence, or maybe it's just you, and that's like a big hurdle to overcome.
It is, absolutely. Yep. And it can hold you back for years, can't it?
It can, yeah. And it has done for me. I've got to a decent position, like I said before, I worked for a great company. I worked for Vodafone for nearly 20 years and had great times at Vodafone, another great company to work for, lots of great jobs. But what I would like to do at the end of my working career is look myself in the mirror and say, I gave it everything I possibly could do. Yeah. And if by focusing on my personal development, actually how best to tackle that, then that's the plan. I can look at myself in the future and say, whatever I did, wherever I got to, I gave it everything I possibly could do.
And I remember you saying that to me in our first session.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that. Because you've got to have no regrets, haven't you?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm always someone who likes to push themselves, and I'm driven. That's never changed in me. So, just finding somebody, which was yourself, to give me that support and direction, and actually learn some new skills and some new techniques, which work really well.
Yeah.
And again, just opens your mind more, and it just starts to knock down more barriers. And then, you can just get on with work and not worry too much about certain situations you're going into, and just relax and be yourself. I think that's quite important.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you did reach out.
I did.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
And like I say, we've done, it's 12 sessions.
We have, yeah.
1 hour online. And it's all outcome based. And we really go deep. We will focus on you, don't we, to start off with?
Yeah.
Because until we focus on you, we then can't move forward and then start to learn the skills. Because you can go on any training course and get leadership skills. But what I feel is missing in personal development in general is that we don't focus on you first and understand what's going on for you that's holding you back.
Yeah.
Then once we've worked on that, we can then bring the skills in. I'm just curious, what made you realise that you couldn't keep doing it alone?
Well, as I said earlier, there was a bit of a cycle of I just started to notice a cycle, essentially, which was I wasn't progressing any further than the sort of level I'm at, and I didn't want to keep continuing doing what I was doing, because it was working to a certain extent, because of I performed well in my role, but it wasn't getting me to that next level. I wasn't really stretching myself. So I thought, and I have thought for a while, I would benefit from some personal development. But for me, it's very important to find someone that I feel I can trust. Opening up to somebody, I think, especially if you're a man, can be quite daunting. So I think, I was looking for someone who I could trust, essentially. And then I was on LinkedIn one day and just saw a post that you popped up.
Yeah.
with some other people that you were interviewing about what they've taken away from your leadership courses. A couple of people were familiar faces, which was nice. And then I just started to dig into that in a bit more detail and learn more about what specifically they'd got from the course. And there was a few points in there that I thought, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for, you know. So, and then I've worked with you for many years, Liz. I trust you. So that's what made me reach out, and I thought I would, find out what it's all about.
Yeah. And yeah, we have worked together for years, and I've really respected you because you proper show up consistently. We've worked on loads of projects, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
The good old Vodafone days. We won't go down that path though. This is about you, not Vodafone. But, you always showed up and really led the way in the projects with your teams, very well respected. And I know I keep on about it, but I am privileged to have you here. I think when people see this podcast, I know that there'll be, like you say, men in particular, because I coach women as well, but men in particular really struggle to open up. And thank you so much for being honest today, because I know that there'll be somebody watching that you will inspire and get them to start opening up.
Yep.
So it cannot be underestimated. And I know it's a big deal you coming here today because, I've put you in a studio and I'm asking you now just to tell us everything about yourself. And, it's a big deal.
Believe it or not, I'm not someone who particularly likes being the centre of attention, No,
and that's why I think it's brilliant that you're doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it will help people. And I think we need more of this.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you mentioned about senior managers as well. You'd be surprised how many senior managers, male managers and female managers struggle, but that men struggle to open up.
Yeah.
And there's this stereotypical view we have of men in general and men in management. I was talking about you on the podcast with Dan Reed, who's the director head of digital for KPMG, and we were talking about authentic leadership, and that's one of the things that you've just started to do now, like just be yourself, which is what he massively advocates. And it'll be in the link below, the Dan Reed podcast, if you want to check that out, because that's brilliant. He talks about authentic leadership and his mental health struggles and how he's very open with his team about it. And again, you're being open with us today about, the confidence and things that have held you back over the years. You've touched on you wanted to learn skills, you wanted to find skills that work that you can use to help you move forward. So how has your leadership changed since being on the programme?
So like a common theme I would get from people surveys or people feedback over the years would be people would find me a little bit difficult to approach sometimes, or difficult to get to know. And I used to find that hard to understand, really. But what I've learned, particularly over the last 3 months, is actually it's because it's not so much that I didn't get on with people. I was just holding back in terms of opening up and being just being myself, concerned more about what I thought they would want me to be as a leader and a manager rather than just being myself and supporting them that way. So I'd say my leadership style is much more open now, much more authentic in terms of just being myself. And I've seen quite a few benefits from that, actually. So yeah, I've improved relationships with people who work for me. They're starting to open up to me more. I can think of one person in particular that works for me now that's really, I've started to build a really strong relationship with this person, and actually their performance has improved. They were already a good performer anyway, but now they're a really high performer. And I can see that actually there's that relationship, that better bond and trust, where she opens up to me about, what she's thinking about certain work situations. And I'm really able to dig down into what it is I can do to coach her, support her. So it's like a real great example of teamwork, with positive results out the back of it. So that I've noticed that that's been great for me.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm building on and doing and putting that to practice with other people. But then I'd also say, Liz, it's helped me build relationships with people who are more senior to me as well.
Mm.
So I think sometimes, at all levels of management, or even if you're not a manager, when you deal with someone who's quite senior or you speak to someone quite senior, it can be a little bit daunting. And sometimes you put yourself in a position where you think, actually, this is what they would want to hear from me. But what I've found actually is I just need to be myself. Going back to your point before about the last podcast interview you did, and that guy who's MD at KPMG or director at KPMG.
Director, yeah.
And it's interesting that he's got the same approach, So it's the same. It should be the same for everyone at all levels. And if you can get to that point where you can just be yourself and relax, I know it might sound like, pretty obvious, but you'll just perform better.
Yeah.
Because anyone who's in a relaxed situation or relaxed state, who's just being themselves, will think more clearly.
Yeah.
Will be more open to putting their views forward. Will be more open to taking on feedback. It's just a better environment, a better way to work. So I've noticed that as well with people more senior to me. So I've started to have better relationships and build better relationships from that as well. So that's great.
And I hope you don't mind me saying, but I think that's been a game changer for you.
Yeah.
Because actually, I think the company have been very welcoming. But there is always, I'm saying this broadly, an apprehension of going to your manager and talking about career progression.
Yeah.
If you think about the things that you said, you don't want to raise your head above the parapet and, the confidence, etc. Then, and that fear, but actually, you've actually pushed past that fear and been your authentic self and said, look, this is what I'm about and this is where I want to be. And you've had a great response. In fact, I think you've had an amazing response. Do you want to share the response that you've had from your manager and then his manager and like the sponsorship about being mentors for you?
For the first time, I've got a mentor. Not had a mentor before. I've sort of avoided that type of relationship and support before. As I said before, keeping my head below the parapet. But I've got that. I'm working on bigger projects. I feel like I've got more opportunities and there's more doors opening for me. And that motivates me to, get out of bed in the morning and work even harder and do even more.
Yeah. And can you imagine if you hadn't done it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you'd go back to 3 months ago and you were still doing?
Yeah, I think I'd just be in the same situation, I'd just be coming in, doing my job, having good days, having bad days, and just feeling a bit frustrated at certain things.
Yeah.
And not really knowing what to do and how to move forward with it. So yeah. I'm glad I have. I'm it's been a great help.
Oh, mate, honestly, I love to hear when you give me the updates. I'm like, oh my God, this is like more than that we set out to do at the beginning when we were setting goals and what have you. And then you were asked to present to how many people?
Yeah, it was a room full of people at a strategy day. And I think that really helped me, that piece of coaching that you gave me, which was looking at like different styles of presentation, Now, when it comes to presentations, I can be a little bit hit and miss. In the past, I have been. But what you helped me with was, different types of tone, different types of pacing, points to land, like ways to rehearse, who to rehearse with. So it was a whole different level of preparation that I'd done before any other presentation. And it went particularly well. went really well, actually. It was great.
Yeah.
And I've taken that into any other presentation I've done moving forwards, and it just helps massively,
And
in terms of preparation.
communication's such a massive part of your job, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, huge, every day. So being like an effective communicator and a strong communicator makes a difference most of the time.
And can you remember when you were at was it the night before this presentation? Because we'd worked on the art of small talk, hadn't we?
Yeah.
And we put a bit of a strategy together because, it isn't just about presenting on the day, because we talk about influencing and persuasion as part of the programme. These are some of the leadership skills. So we've talked about communication.
Yeah.
I remember you messaging me I was like, how is it going? Because I'm nosy like that. And you were like, Liz.
Yeah, you are nosy like that, Liz.
Yeah, I am. I'd like to call it being invested in you, but it is a bit of nosy as well. But I remember you I've made some great relationships with people the night before, and it's all tied into being your authentic self, letting people know who you are and what you're about.
That's it. Yeah. Well, it was the morning before, actually,
right?
Because I got there early, and then that was something that we worked on. Is just the small talk side of it, and it's that being up your authentic self. Not sat in a room might sound a bit dramatic, but you're on death row waiting to stand up and do your bit presenting.
Yes.
They can sometimes be a bit bit like that, can't it? Where you're waiting to go up next. But actually getting yourself in the right mindset as soon as you walk into the room, speaking to people, work related, non-work related, just really helps you set your mood and get ready for when you're up. Try and enjoy the day and enjoy the moment to present, rather than sat there thinking, right, when I'm up, I've got to say this, I've got to say that. It's more, you've done your preparation so you can feel confident about that, which we've done a lot of. So just focus on the small talk, focus on building those relationships in the room, and just feeling settled, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did talk about preparation there, because from communication, just a quick tip, please, let's stop winging it. You have got to prepare for these things. And what I always want everybody to go away with after this programme is that they've got those skills to carry on forever now.
Yep.
So you're using it in everyday life, which is amazing. And you're sharing it with your team. You said about how your team are getting these successes. You now have got your mentor and the support from your manager. They've been so welcoming and supportive. And, people do have a reluctance to speak to the manager about the personal development plans, but, it's tick, tick, tick for you. You're doing all the right things. So how does it feel now that you are being your authentic self? Has the pressure been lifted from you?
Yeah, massively. How do I feel? I feel good, I feel like I've got a plan and I've got some strategies, and it just when I'm moving into work now, and I'm going through like problem solving, or I'm going through team briefings, I'm going through a particular like task or project to work through. Over the last 12 weeks, we've worked on different techniques and different strategies to tackle those different situations, So, there's a problem solving check sheet to go through to make sure certain elements of a project or a task that we would need to go through. And there's been instances where actually I might have missed something. And if I hadn't followed that process that you'd shown me, Liz, that would have got missed. And that could have caused a problem later on down the line,
Oh, the assessment indicator.
That's the one.
Got you. Okay.
That's the better name for it.
Well, just for those that don't know about it, so part of the programme, we do productivity mastery, don't we?
Yeah.
So we do productivity at the beginning, then we come back, session 10, I think it is, and we do productivity mastery, and essentially it's an assessment that we go through. So when you're bringing in a new goal, we check that you're not going to be blindsided, don't we? So that's the checklist you're talking about.
That's the one.
Right. So you're using that.
So I do use that, yeah.
I
And
love
obviously we
it.
spoke about the communication skills. I use that too. Yeah. I
Amazing.
picked them all out. I've got them in a little folder. So
A star for you. What I'm intrigued to know then is, are people noticing something different about you? Are they interacting with you differently? What are people saying? Because you said earlier that people found you hard to read. So have you noticed any difference?
Yeah. So so my feedback would usually be, people would find me hard to read, a good poker face, a little bit intense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was something that used to pop up. Yeah, a bit offended by it as well.
Were you?
Well, not.
That's interesting.
Well, a little bit. I just think that I'm I would like to think I'm quite a friendly, like outgoing person.
You
but
are.
as we've already said, that when I was being a leader or managers people, I would stiffen up a little bit because I wouldn't be myself fully. I'd be who I thought I needed to be. But as we've said, I've changed that now. And yeah, I've had a great response from the person I spoke about before. So I'm really proud of what that person's doing for me now and how well she's doing. But in general, people are seemingly more open with me. I seem to have got better relationships with people at different levels. Yeah. And I'm applying that being myself to all conversations, presentations, all meetings. It definitely helps me relax personally. So if that was it, I know everyone's different in terms of what development they need, but for me personally, just being able to not think about or worry about what I need to say or what I need to do and just be myself actually has made a massive difference. And I never saw that before we started working together.
Yeah. Bloody hell, that's got to be return on investment, if nothing else.
Yeah, you might put your prices up for me, mightn't you?
Well, we just got to get good value for money, Simon.
Yeah.
But it is an investment, isn't it? I think, we personal development. What are your thoughts about personal development now then? Would you still keep it at the bottom
No,
of
I don't.
priorities?
I think you have to prioritise it rather than it be on a to-do list. I think it shouldn't sit on a to-do list. It should sit as a priority for you. So however you manage your day, whatever works best for you. For me, I like to sit down or reflect towards the end of a day at what's gone well, what have I learned from today, what's the plans for the rest of the week. But really looking at like the longer term, bigger plan as well. And am I still moving towards that goal in terms of what I want to achieve? Have I ticked off any of those actions, and am I working towards it of what I've done today? And if not, it's not beat yourself up about it, because we all have days where, something happens at work that's not part of your development and you just have to get on and you have to do it. That's just life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when that happens, it's not to beat yourself up about it, because that's important too. So it's just that understanding and managing that daily workflow, but always prioritizing and thinking about and reflecting, are you moving towards that goal? And if not beat yourself up, understand it, and then, make a change, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. Do you know, these people don't get promoted by luck. They've been doing a lot of work that you just might not have seen.
Yeah.
And whenever in my podcast series, if I ask whichever manager it is, they've all prioritised the personal development and blocked out that time. Okay, sometimes it has to drop in the priority if something's hitting the fan, but as a norm, they consistently have that plan and they work to it. And like you said, check in. Am I progressing? Am I getting, have I moved forward? But it's everything in balance, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I don't think it's necessarily about like It's not about a promotion in my eyes. It's more about developing and working on what you need to do to progress. Yeah. And then what will be, will be.
Yeah.
It might not even be a promotion, but if you're developing and you're happy with that, then that's cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing, I think that's great. So I think that's what's more important now, is not worry too much about what this next role is. You can have ambition, you want to progress, that's great. Make sure you tell people that. But it's more about working on skill gaps or learning new techniques, trying different things to try and get a different result.
Yeah, definitely.
For me, that's what it's about.
Yeah, and you're right. It's all of that.
Yeah.
And telling your manager, this is where I want to go.
Yeah.
So they are advocates. And again, check out the podcast by Dan Reed. And also there's a podcast by Simon Cowip. And he talks about authentic leadership and personal development and working, looking at the skill gaps and just constantly progressing. Again, another good couple of examples of authentic leadership, but leaders that have been successful in their careers. So yeah, check them out. So somebody's going to be watching this, a leader, and they're going to be struggling silently, but they're going to be telling themselves, I think I can keep doing it the way I'm doing it. I think I can keep figuring this out on my own. What would your message be now to that leader?
My message would be, actually, if you are stuck on a certain situation or progression or whatever it may be, and you've been there for a while, then there's got to be a reason why. And if you knew the answer, you probably would have already done something about it, because that's what we do. So you definitely need to look into getting some support and help around that. Yeah. Just saying to yourself, which I've said, and I'm sure plenty of people do daily basis, that it's down to me. You have to figure it out yourself. Sometimes even beating yourself up about it if you've not figured something out, or being hard on yourself.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Really good point.
It doesn't work. It just makes you feel worse, if anything. Once you get over that barrier of asking for help and support, what you'll see is that there's lots of people out there that have got maybe that particular skill, or they've had that experience that you can tap into. Once you've knocked down that barrier in your mind, and you reach out and ask for help and support, you'll find that people have got skills and lots of experiences that you can tap into. And once you ask them, since I've been asking people for support or help, and when I say support or help, I just mean, can I have 10 minutes to have a conversation about a particular thing I'm working on? Have you experienced this before? What did you do?
Write that down.
How can you help me?
Because that's a brilliant, a little tip, isn't it?
Yeah, just something simple like that. It's not a big deal, really.
Yeah.
But people make it a big deal. Then most people, and I've not found this anything but this, I'm speaking to people, they get flattered by it because, they like to share their experiences. And if you're all working for the same company, usually if you tap into someone who's more senior or have got more experience, they want you to do well, because if we all do well, then it's good for everybody, isn't it? So they will help you, for that reason, or just for the fact that they like to be able to share some of their experiences and, pass them on. That was what I would, if you're sat there thinking, I need to figure it out myself, then once you open your mind to getting support of other people and doing it in that way, you'll wish you started a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. Yeah, you don't have to go to somebody and say, the dialogue that you're having in your head, I feel stupid or I'm failing. You just position it in a way that, have you ever come across this before? Can I grab 10 minutes? I loved what you said there. So that's a brilliant way to open up that conversation. And like you say, people are flattered because you're going to them for help.
Yep.
And they, you never get turned away. And if you do, then go and ask somebody else.
Exactly,
Don't let that stop you. What I'm going to ask you now is to summarize, give me one word to describe
the
last 12 weeks of working together, the program. Can you summarize it in one word?
I would probably use enlightening.
Ooh.
Bit posh of me, innit?
I like that. Tell us why enlightening.
It's just because, as I've said plenty of times now, the last 12 weeks have opened my mind to doing things differently, trying different techniques, learning new skills that have worked, and some of them I'm particularly using more than others at the minute, but I'm sure I'll come back to use them all at some point. But yeah, so I'd say, enlightened, because I feel like it's opened a lot of different doors and knocked down a lot of barriers in my mind, which are really helping me.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. I love that. I wasn't expecting that. Bit of a tough question, that, isn't it, really, to summarise it in one word?
Yeah.
A lot of hard graft and 12 hours of coaching, but thank you. That's brilliant.
Okay.
So I hope you enjoyed hearing Simon's journey as much as I did. And I'm really chuffed that he shared and been open and vulnerable. He's talked about men do struggle to open up. So if you are a male leader watching this, or a female, I hope you feel inspired, because everything is possible and my coaching just gives you options, but we focus on you and then we add the leadership skills so you get the results that Simon's had. And, 12 weeks, 12 hours of coaching, and what an incredible transformation. And I'm so lucky that I'll be keeping in touch with Simon and seeing how his journey progresses. I can't wait to see what the rest of the year is going to bring for him, and as he heads in to 2026. And I can't say a big enough thank you to Simon for just being so open and just sharing his journey. It'd be brilliant if you liked the episode. If you could leave a review, that would really help my channel out. And I will see you next time.